Okay, in this one we're going to try to take on a few of these. So let's look at exposure, a term very similar to vulnerability. In other words, when a system or data is exposed, it becomes vulnerable. So almost a synonym of the word vulnerability, if not actually a synonym. Loss, of course, is when we do lose something. Something is stolen, something is compromised, a service is lost, access is lost. That is just described as a loss, or sometimes a loss event. Subject and object are two terms that are used quite heavily in some certification types. So, for example, the CISSP certification, security certification system uses these terms quite heavily. Subject, a system, is the system used to carry out the attack. So in other words, the attacking system, and the object is the one being attacked, so acted upon. One is doing the action, the other is acted upon. So you should know the difference between those two terms, subject and object. Attack footprint is sometimes the sum total of all of the vulnerabilities. In other words, how vulnerable is my entire system? Well, it's this vulnerability plus this vulnerability plus this vulnerability, the entire attack footprint of that system. Controls, mitigations, protection profiles, security postures, safeguard, countermeasure. These are all ways of saying how do we guard against attacks? How do we guard against exploits? How do we patch up our vulnerabilities to have less vulnerabilities? These are all just various ways of saying that. Finally, we have intellectual property. This is property that is owned by an individual or a corporation that is secret or at least protected in some way. It's a little bit different from things like PII, or personal identifiable information, which is credit card numbers and so forth. This would be creative works, recipes, as you can see, procedures, materials, operating procedures, works of art, written materials, copyright, and so on. Trade secrets like the Coca-Cola recipe. These are all forms of intellectual property. So that's it for the rest of these terms. Let's come back and look at models in the next video.